والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين أما بعد. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم والرب زدني علما. قال الإمام النووي رحمه الله تبارك وتعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين. قال وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت ما غبت على أحد من نساء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما غبت على خديجة رضي الله عنها وما رأيتها قط ولكن كان يكثر ذكرها وربما ذبح الشاة ثم يقطعها أعضاء ثم يبعثها في صدائق خديجة فربما قلت له كان لم يكن في الدنيا امرأة إلا خديجة فيقول إنها كانت وكان لي منها ولد متفق عليه. وفي رواية إن كان ليذبح الشاة فيهدي في خلائلها منها ويسعهن. في رواية كان إذا ذبح الشاة يقول أرسل بها إلى أصدقاء خديجة. وفي رواية قالت استأذنت حالة بنت خويلد أخت خديجة على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فعرف استئذان خديجة فارتاح لذلك فقال اللهم حالة بنت خويلد. الله أكبر. So here again, this is almost in completion of the chapter of the virtue of the goodness and being kind to the friends, the very close friends of the parents, and also the relatives, and also here, as is mentioned in the title of the chapter, one's wife also, the friends of the wife. So here is the riwayat of Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She says that I never was as I wasn't as envious for any of the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as I was for Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, even though she was never present together because she had already passed away, and Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, of course, married Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after Khadija had left the world. So why? And the other wives were there present. However, she felt more envious. Why? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to mention her quite often. And there's quite a number of hadith, very interesting hadith in that regard. And so she also mentions, وَمَا رَأَيْتُهَا قَطْ, even though I never saw her. Of course, she might have seen her when she was very little, but you wouldn't have recollected that. وَلَكِنْ كَانَ يُكْثِرُ ذِكْرَهَا. But so how was she so envious? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would continuously make a mention of her and her virtues. And of course, she was the first person to accept Islam. And she was the one to comfort Rasulullah in the first meeting with Jibreel Islam, and when he came back, and in almost total shock. It's such a magnanimous thing, and it was Khadija that comforted, and so forth and so on. And she, of course, was just an amazing example of perfection of humanity, radiallahu ta'ala anha. And then, so now, pursuant to the chapter involved here, وَرُبَّمَا ذَبَحَ الشَّاةَ, and perhaps, and sometimes Rasulullah would actually even slaughter a sheep and cut it into pieces and sections and send the various sections to the friends of Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. So perhaps sometimes I would say, it's as though there's no woman in the world except her. So she would, of course, envy is something that's in human nature, and of course the wives, there would be envy. And in another riwayat, Nabi alayhi, she got a bit sort of envious, and she said, why you keep remembering this old woman of Quraysh, and she died a long time ago, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you better, like meaning herself, young, virgin, and very beautiful. He says, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't give me better. In other words, she was as good as it gets. Allahu Akbar, radiyallahu anha. Allahu Akbar. So she says in this riwayat, she says, as though there's no other women in the world except Khadija. So Nabi Sallallahu would reply, Innaha kanat wa kanat, she was this, she was that, kanat wa kanat, in order that he would mention various virtues and mawaqif, and she had many stances and many virtues. In fact, Jibreel alayhi salam himself came and said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends his salam to Khadija and gives her the glad tidings of a beautiful house in paradise. Allahu Akbar. Innaha kanat wa kanat. Wa kana li minha walad. And also from her was my children. Of course, all the children of Rasulullah who remained alive, and his progeny is from the children, all of them from Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha.